So it might be too early to be making this video. After the Monaco Grand Prix, Chain Bear said this in a tweet. And honestly, I don't blame him for saying this. I've been thinking the same for about a year now. I feel as though Daniel Ricciardo doesn't have much time left in his career to prove that he can win races again like in his Red Bull days. With the many team changes he's had in the past 3 years, I feel like he's almost squashed his chance at becoming a race winner again. Daniel moved from Red Bull to Renault to McLaren in the space of 3 years, with the hopes of winning in Formula 1 again. And, well, as we've already seen, the most he's gotten from impersonating a rabbit is 2 podiums. It hasn't exactly worked out for the best for him, and in my eyes he's almost wasted a couple years in his career by chasing something that he could have gotten if he had stayed with Red Bull. Daniel turns 32 this year, and the average age of a Formula 1 driver is 26. He's done a lot of great things in his career, but I know he wants more, so in this video I'll be answering the question of whether Daniel has enough time left in his career to win again. So without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Okay, to begin I'm going to have a quick overlook of his Formula 1 career to date. Daniel Ricciardo started his first Formula 1 race at the 2011 British Grand Prix with the Hispania racing team, after being the Reincarnations, who I mentioned in my last video, which you should check out by the way, link in the description, replacement. He continued to compete in the rest of the races for that season. In 2012 he moved to Toro Rosso to finish 9th in his home Grand Prix after overtaking his teammate Jean-Éric Vergne on the last lap. He continued to do well in the season and was kept by Toro Rosso for 2013. Throughout that season he did well against his teammate by beating him in the championship by 7 points and out-qualified him for 3/4 of the season. He finished 13th in the championship in 2013, and because of his efforts he was promoted to Red Bull in 2014, replacing Mark Webber. In the first race he qualified 2nd behind Lewis Hamilton and finished 2nd, but was disqualified from the race because his car exceeded the mandated hourly fuel flow rate. He then went on to win the Canadian and Hungarian Grand Prix. Ricciardo finished 4th in the championship. 2015 wasn't a good season for Daniel as the car he had was powered by the Renault engines, which weren't the best. In 2016 though, he got a couple more podiums and high starting positions. This is also where he got his first pole at the Monaco Grand Prix, which he would have won if Red Bull didn't ruin his race with a bad pit stop like Mercedes did to Valtteri Bottas last weekend. He got his first win of the season at the Malaysian Grand Prix and finished 3rd in the championship behind Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. 2017 was also a good season for Daniel as he got 8 podiums and another win at that year's Azerbaijan Grand Prix. He finally won the Monaco Grand Prix from pole, but he also had to deal with an MG UK dying as gracefully as a walrus choking on a lily pad. He had 8 retirements in 2018 and it was his last season with Red Bull. In 2019 he signed for Renault with a 2-year contract. He was having a good season, and by good I mean terrible. A lot of the time he was just unlucky because of crashes and engine problems. By the end of it he finished in a pretty dismal 9th in the championship. In 2020 he had a really good season with Renault as he got his first podium since 2018 and had a ton of top 10 finishes. But it's not what he was getting when he was triumphant with wins in almost every year in his 5 years at Red Bull. And now we move on to 2021, where he's been signed by McLaren with a multi-year deal replacing the departing Carlos Sainz. In 2021 we've had 5 races, and in those 5 races, Daniel hasn't had the results he's been hoping for. I know that it might be a bit too early to start saying things about a driver's performance, especially since they're still settling into a new team, but after the performance he had in Monaco last week, it's beginning to be a bit worrying. He, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of other drivers were off the pace that week, but they didn't get lapped by their teammate and finished almost 10 places behind them. Now, there might be some reasons for this. One of them might be that he feels intimidated by his teammate Lando Norris. I can't think of a reason why he should be, since Daniel is the one with wins and a multitude of podiums. I guess the fact he's been with McLaren for longer than Daniel could be a reason. But back to the point of this video, how much time does Daniel have left in his career? Well, I personally think that if he doesn't get any more triumph in the years that'll pass with McLaren, then he won't be here for much longer. Considering the fact that Daniel has a multi-year contract with McLaren leads me to believe that he'll be at the team for at least 3 or 4 years. I do want him to win in those years, he deserves it and hasn't won in Formula 1 for a long time. It'll be sad to see a great driver like Daniel have his career somewhat tainted by poor and kind of erratic team choices like certain drivers. In Monaco, the Honey Badger looked really out of his element. When it was announced that he was going to McLaren for 2021 onwards, we all hoped that we'd see some of the Daniel that we saw in 2014 to 18. that would always be up the grid taking the fight to those in front of him. But with that being said, his performance at McLaren isn't all his fault. Not like any of it was anyway. But apparently, the McLaren is a hard car to drive compared to the Red Bull and Renault. Drivers report that the margins and timings for certain things like braking points are much smaller with it, and that for drivers with unusual driving styles like Fernando Alonso and John Alesi, and subsequently Daniel too, it doesn't work too well. The way Daniel brakes with his car produces understeer, and he does lose a bit of time because of it. I hope that McLaren and Daniel can find a solution for that, and who knows, maybe then we'll see Daniel equaling the performances shown by his teammate. Because 2021 is his 10th year in Formula 1, the amount of time that Daniel has left in his career has become increasingly concerning to say the least. I want him to be at the top of his game again, and prove that what he was at Red Bull wasn't a fluke. And, speaking of Red Bull, do I think he should have left? Yes and no. I mean, it's obvious that Daniel wasn't going nowhere with Red Bull. The entire team has been about Max for the past half decade at this point. Like, yeah, their car is competitive and he would have gotten more podiums, but I don't think Daniel would have stayed at Red Bull because of the clear toxicity and driver bias there. And do I think he should have stayed at Renault? No. Renault have been promising competitiveness and results for years at this point, and it's just never come. So that's it for this video. As always, nothing I say on this channel should be taken seriously, as I'm really not the most qualified person to be speaking about these topics. By this video, I don't mean any bad will to Daniel. I like him a lot as a driver and he isn't problematic, so please don't think this is a video of me bashing him. But yeah, if you like what I make, you should probably hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified of new videos from me every week or two. And yeah, I've been Delicia, and I'll see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching.